okay, real talk, who hasn't spent like way too long on the internet trying to figure out if they should go for DevOps or stick with, like the classic software engineer thing.
Yeah, I know what I mean.
Both sound kind of cool.
Right.
Both, seem to pay pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you actually choose?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's enough to make your head spin.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
We've got this awesome comparison guide.
Okay.
And we're going to really unpack it.
Okay.
The roles, the skills, the salaries, the whole 9 yards.
That's a smart move to really get a clear picture of what each path entails before you kind of jump in.
Right.
Especially because, as we'll see, these roles are more interconnected than people might think.
Right. The guide starts by, laying out the basics.
Okay.
Software engineers, they're the ones building the apps we use every day.
Mm-hmm.
The masterminds, behind the code.
Yeah.
Then there's DevOps.
Right.
And this is where it gets interesting to me because
Okay.
they're all about making sure that software actually gets out into the world smoothly.
Yeah.
Think like launch day, no crashes, no bugs, that kind of magic.
It's more than magic.
Yeah.
It's a whole set of skills and processes.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
The guide makes the point that both roles are super important,
Right.
but they work in different ways.
Gotcha.
Software engineers are focused on the application itself, making sure it does what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
DevOps, on the other hand, they're looking at the big picture,
Okay.
the entire life cycle of the software.
Okay. So big picture versus like the nitty-gritty details.
Right.
I can see how that would play out in their day-to-day work.
Yeah, absolutely.
The guide even lists like specific responsibilities.
Exactly.
Okay.
For software engineers, it's all about coding, testing, debugging.
Yeah.
The classic developer stuff.
Right.
Plus, they've got to be good at collaborating.
Yeah.
Since software projects are rarely a one-person show.
Makes sense. So what does the guide say about like what a DevOps engineer spends their time on?
Well, buckle up because it gets a little more technical.
Oh boy.
We're talking about things like setting up CI/CD pipelines, managing cloud infrastructure,
Right.
and using container tools. They're the ones making sure everything runs smoothly behind the scenes.
Okay, you're gonna have to break some of that down for me.
Okay.
CI/CD pipelines,
Right.
containers.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit like a secret language.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Imagine you're working on a huge puzzle.
Okay, I like puzzles.
Software engineers are focused on fitting each individual piece together perfectly.
Gotcha.
DevOps.
Yeah.
They're building the table the puzzle sits on,
Okay.
making sure there's enough space, good lighting,
Right.
and all the pieces are within reach.
I see.
A CI/CD pipeline is like a conveyor belt
Okay.
that takes new puzzle pieces, so code updates, and automatically tests them to make sure they fit,
Yeah.
then adds them to the puzzle without, disrupting the whole picture.
Okay, I can picture that.
Good.
So it's like a smooth, automated way to get like new features or bug fixes out to users.
Exactly.
Oh.
And container tools are like those little organizer boxes
Okay.
you can use to keep puzzle pieces separated by color or section.
Oh, wow.
Containers help package up applications and all their dependencies so they can run smoothly on any system.
So it's all about portability.
Right.
And making sure things work consistently no matter where the quote-unquote puzzle is being put together.
You got it.
Okay.
That's why the guide stresses the importance of cloud platforms like AWS and Azure for DevOps engineers.
Cloud platforms. So that's like finding a giant table
Yeah.
that can hold like an ever-expanding puzzle, right?
Yeah.
You can just keep adding more space as needed.
Exactly.
That's cool.
And to manage all that, DevOps engineers rely heavily on automation tools.
Okay.
Like the guide lists a bunch. Jenkins, Ansible, Terraform.
Whoa, there are a lot of tools involved in DevOps.
Yeah, there are quite a few.
Is it ever overwhelming to like keep up with all that?
It's definitely a fast-paced field,
Yeah.
but that's part of what makes it exciting.
Right.
And many of these tools use scripting languages like Python or Bash,
Right.
which are skills that can be transferred across different platforms.
So it's not just about memorizing a million different tools,
No.
but understanding the underlying like concepts and languages.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But all this technical talk has me wondering,
Yeah.
what kinds of skills did the guide say are must-haves for, say, a software engineer versus a DevOps engineer?
Okay.
Are we talking like totally different skill sets or is there some overlap?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one a lot of people have. The guide breaks down the skill sets pretty clearly. For software engineers, you need those core programming languages like Python, Java, or C++.
Okay.
Then you've got design principles, algorithms, all this stuff that goes into building like well-structured, efficient software. And don't forget version control tools like Git and project management software like Jira.
Okay.
Those are staples for any developer.
Okay, so pretty much what you'd expect for someone building software.
Right.
But what about DevOps? What kind of skill set are we talking about there?
Well, as you might imagine, DevOps leans heavily into those automation tools we mentioned earlier, Jenkins, Ansible, Terraform, and the like.
Yeah.
And since cloud platforms are such a big part of DevOps, you'll need expertise in those as well.
Gotcha.
AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, they're all major players.
Okay.
Plus, you'll need to be comfortable with scripting.
Right.
Python and Bash are popular choices.
So if I'm hearing you right, software engineers need deep knowledge of the languages used to build the software.
Yeah.
While DevOps engineers need to master the tools and platforms that help get that software running smoothly in a variety of environments.
Exactly.
Did I get that right?
You nailed it.
Awesome.
And the guide makes a really interesting point about the difference in focus.
Okay.
They say to think of software engineers as the artists crafting individual pieces of art.
Okay, I like that.
And then DevOps engineers are the masterminds behind the gallery.
Oh, I see.
Making sure each piece is displayed perfectly and the whole exhibition runs smoothly.
Gotcha.
They're responsible for the entire experience.
That's such a great way to visualize it.
Right?
You've got the creative side and then the like strategic operational side working together to create something amazing.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked skills.
Okay.
But what about like getting your foot in the door?
Right.
The guide mentions education and certifications, right?
It does. For software engineers, the path is pretty traditional.
Okay.
A degree in computer science, software engineering, or a related field is pretty standard.
Right.
Certifications like the Java SE programmer or Azure developer can also give you an edge.
Okay, so that's what you typically see for a lot of tech roles.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier that DevOps might be a bit different.
Right. The guide emphasizes that for DevOps, practical experience and certifications often hold even greater weight than a formal degree.
Interesting.
While a degree can certainly be helpful, it's not necessarily the deciding factor.
Interesting. So it sounds like you can break into DevOps with a more like non-traditional path.
Exactly.
What kind of certifications are we talking about here?
Well, some of the top ones are the AWS Certified DevOps Engineer,
Okay.
the Google Cloud Professional DevOps Engineer,
Gotcha.
and the Docker Certified Associate.
So proving you can actually DO the work is key in the DevOps world. What does that tell us about like the nature of the work itself?
It suggests that DevOps is a very hands-on practical field where your ability to solve real-world problems and manage complex systems is what really matters.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's get to the question. I know everyone's been waiting for the money talk.
Let's do it.
What does the guide say about salary expectations for each role?
Well, the guide gives us some average salary ranges for the U.S.
Okay.
But remember, these are just averages, and a lot of factors can influence what you actually earn.
Of course.
For DevOps engineers, the average is between $110,000 and $140,000 per year.
Okay. That's not bad.
Software engineers fall a little below that, with an average range of $100,000 to $130,000.
So based on those averages, it seems like DevOps might have a slight edge in earning potential.
Yeah, it seems that way.
But like you said, a lot depends on experience, location, and the specific industry you're in.
Exactly. And it's worth noting that the guide itself points out certain industries tend to offer higher salaries for DevOps pros.
Whoa.
For example, fintech companies or any company heavily reliant on cloud infrastructure.
Makes sense.
Are often willing to pay top dollar for those in-demand DevOps skills.
So it's not just about the role itself,
right?
But about finding the right niche within that role where your skills are are most valuable.
Exactly.
That's a great insight.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another important question.
Okay.
Career growth.
Yeah.
Where can you go from here once you've landed a role in either of these fields?
Right. We've talked about what you do, but what about where you can go?
Exactly.
Let's dive into that.
Welcome back to our deep dive, exploring the world of DevOps and software engineering.
We just left off talking about career paths.
Right.
How do you actually like move up the ladder in these fields?
That's what's so fascinating about where these roles are headed.
Yeah.
There isn't just one ladder.
Right.
The guide lays out some typical progressions.
Okay.
But it also hints at how much these fields are blending together.
You mentioned earlier how some software engineers transition into DevOps.
Right.
That seems like a pretty big clue about how things are changing.
It is. If we connect this to the bigger picture,
Okay.
it suggests that the future of software development is going to be less about fitting into a specific box,
right,
and more about having a flexible skill set.
So is the guide saying it doesn't really matter which path you choose?
Not quite.
Okay.
It's more about recognizing the value of having skills in both areas.
Yeah.
Sure. If you're a software engineer, learning about cloud platforms and automation can make you a much more valuable asset.
Right.
And for those leaning towards DevOps, a strong foundation in programming will give you a deeper understanding of the applications you're working with.
It's like having a secret weapon.
Yeah.
You understand not just your own piece of the puzzle,
right,
but how it fits into the bigger picture.
Exactly. So even though the guide lays out separate career paths,
yeah,
the reality is that the lines are blurring.
Right.
That makes it even more important to understand what each role traditionally involves.
Okay, so let's break down those paths. What does the guide say about like typical career progressions? For
software engineers, it often starts with a junior developer role.
Okay.
From there, you might move into more specialized areas, like back end or full stack development.
Hold on, what do those terms mean?
Okay.
I hear them all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I could explain the difference.
Good point. Backend refers to the behind-the-scenes parts of an application. Think databases, servers, all the stuff users don't see directly.
Right.
Full stack developers, on the other hand, they work on both the back end and the front end.
Okay.
The part users interact with.
Gotcha.
It's like being a chef.
Okay.
Who can not only cook amazing dishes, but also design the menu,
right,
and set the ambiance of the restaurant.
Okay, so full stack is like the ultimate multitasker of the development world.
You could say that.
Cool.
And as software engineers gain experience, they might move into even more senior roles, like software architect, or even transition into management.
So lots of options for growth.
Right.
What about the DevOps side?
Well, the guide mentions starting out as a DevOps specialist,
okay,
or junior or cloud engineer.
Gotcha.
As you gain experience, you might progress to infrastructure engineer or senior dev engineer.
So this is where those cloud skills really come into play.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And at the senior level, you might find yourself as a DevOps manager, or even a site reliability engineer. Cool. Often called an SRE.
SRE. That's a new one.
Yeah.
What exactly does an SRE do?
Okay.
It sounds pretty important.
They are. Think of them as the guardians of uptime.
Okay.
SREs are responsible for making sure websites and applications are always up and running smoothly.
Right.
Even when things go wrong.
So they're like the first responders of the tech world.
That's a great way to put it.
I like it.
They're constantly monitoring systems, responding to incidents, and finding ways to improve reliability and prevent future problems.
That sounds like a high pressure job.
It can be.
But also super important in today's world.
Right.
Where we rely on so much technology.
Absolutely. And the guide emphasizes that as software becomes more complex and interconnected, right, the role of the SRE will only become more crucial.
Hearing all this talk about automation, cloud platforms, and these highly specialized roles, it makes me wonder about like the human element. Is there still a place for creativity and problem solving in a world where machines seem to be taking over so much?
That's a question a lot of people are asking.
Yeah.
And while it's true that automation is transforming the tech industry,
right,
human skills are still absolutely essential.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
But I'm curious,
okay,
if machines are taking over so many of the routine tasks, mm-hmm. what's left for us humans to do?
That's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Machines are great at following instructions mm-hmm. and executing repetitive tasks. Yep. But they lack the creativity, critical thinking and problem solving skills that we bring to the table.
So we're still the ones coming up with the innovative ideas, the outside the box solutions.
And as automation takes over more routine tasks,
right,
it frees us up to focus on those higher level tasks that require human ingenuity.
So it's not about being replaced,
right,
but about our roles evolving and becoming even more important.
Precisely. Wow. The key is to embrace the changes.
Right.
And continuously upskill ourselves.
Okay, so we need to be adaptable and lifelong learners. Got it. But what specific human skills are going to be most in demand as these fields continue to evolve?
Well, beyond the technical skills, the guide emphasizes communication, collaboration, and problem solving.
Those seem like pretty general skills, not necessarily specific to tech. Mm-hmm. Why are they so important in this context?
Because software development is rarely a solo endeavor anymore.
Yeah.
It requires teams of people working together.
Yeah.
Communicating effectively mm-hmm. and finding creative solutions to complex challenges.
So being a tech whiz isn't enough.
No.
You need to be a team player,
right,
and a good communicator.
Exactly.
Makes sense. But the guide also mentions how the lines between development and operations are blurring.
Yes, and that's where the ability to collaborate effectively across different teams and disciplines becomes even more crucial.
It's like the whole industry is becoming more integrated.
Precisely.
That's really interesting.
And let's not forget adaptability and a willingness to learn.
Right.
The tech world is constantly evolving. Mm-hmm. So being able to embrace new technologies mm-hmm. and pick up new skills quickly is essential. So
it's not just about what you know today.
Yeah.
But your capacity to learn and adapt to whatever comes next.
Exactly. A growth mindset and a passion for continuous learning are must-haves for anyone who wants to thrive in this industry.
Okay, so we've talked about the human element, okay, the importance of soft skills mm-hmm. and the need for adaptability.
Right.
But let's shift gears a bit and talk about how these evolving roles are actually impacting the way software is built.
Okay.
How are the principles of DevOps influencing the development process itself?
That's a great point. Yeah. DevOps isn't just about job titles. Yeah. It's about a whole new approach to software development.
So less about silos and more about teamwork.
Exactly. DevOps is about breaking down those traditional barriers between development and operations.
Right.
It's about fostering collaboration
mm-hmm.
and automating as much as possible to streamline the entire software life cycle.
So more speed,
yeah,
more efficiency, getting software into the hands of users faster.
Speed is definitely a factor, but it's not just about going fast. It's about going fast while also maintaining a high level of quality and reliability.
And how does DevOps achieve that?
That's where the principles of CI/CD come, and
right,
continuous integration and continuous delivery.
Right.
Remember those pipelines we talked about earlier?
Right, the conveyor belts?
Exactly. CI/CD is all about automating the process of building, testing, and deploying software.
So fewer errors slipping through the cracks.
Precisely.
Okay.
With CI, developers merge their code changes frequently, and automated tests are run to catch any issues early on.
Right.
Then CD takes it a step further by automating the deployment process, allowing teams to release new features and updates to users quickly and reliably.
So it's like a well-oiled machine,
yeah,
that takes code from the developer's screen,
right,
all the way to the user's device.
That's a great way to put it.
Awesome.
And this agile approach is transforming the way software is built.
Okay.
Leading to faster development cycles, more frequent releases, and a greater focus on user feedback.
So it's not just about the tools.
Right.
But about a fundamental shift in mindset.
You got it. DevOps is a cultural philosophy as much as a set of technical practices.
Oh wow.
It's about collaboration, communication,
Yeah.
and constantly striving to deliver better software faster.
This has been incredibly insightful.
I'm glad to hear that.
And I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
There's always more to explore.
Right. Yeah.
But hopefully this deep dive has given you a better understanding of how these fields are evolving and converging.
Definitely. But before we wrap up this part,
okay,
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what the future holds.
Okay.
Any predictions about how these roles might continue to evolve?
That's a great question to ponder as we head into the final part of our deep dive.
Join us for part 3, where we'll delve into the crystal ball.
Okay.
And explore what lies ahead for DevOps and software engineering.
Sounds good.
We'll also discuss some potential career paths.
Right.
That might emerge from this dynamic landscape.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the world of DevOps versus software engineering.
It's been quite a journey, exploring these two interconnected career paths and how they're shaping the future of software.
We've covered a ton of ground.
We have.
But I'm dying to know what you think lies ahead.
Okay.
Any predictions for DevOps and software engineering? What's in store?
Well,
predicting the future of tech is like trying to catch lightning in a bottle.
Right.
But we can definitely spot some trends.
Okay.
And make educated guesses.
Yeah.
About where things are headed.
All right, hit me with your best predictions. Well, what's on the horizon?
One trend I think we'll see more of is the rise of noops. It's a pretty futuristic concept.
Yeah.
But the idea is that infrastructure management becomes so automated and abstracted that it essentially disappears.
So like no operations needed.
Right.
Seriously, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But also a little scary.
It's definitely a big shift, but we're already seeing steps in that direction with serverless computing, advanced cloud platforms and AI-powered automation tools. The need for humans to manually manage infrastructure is shrinking.
So does that mean DevOps engineers are going to go the way of the dodo?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
Their expertise will just become even more specialized.
Okay. Instead
of focusing on manual tasks, they'll be designing, implementing, and managing these highly automated systems.
So more high level thinking, less day-to-day firefighting.
Exactly. They'll be like the architects of self-managing systems.
I see.
Making sure everything runs smoothly and efficiently behind the scenes.
Okay, so DevOps is evolving.
Right.
What about software engineers?
Okay.
How will their roles change in this future?
I think we'll see a continued emphasis on specialization for software engineers.
Okay.
As software systems become more complex and specialized.
Right.
The need for deep expertise in specific areas will only increase.
So instead of just being a software engineer,
right,
you'll need to be, say, a machine learning engineer or a cybersecurity engineer or even something like super specific, like a data visualization specialist.
Exactly. We're already seeing this trend.
Yeah.
And it's only going to pick up speed.
Right.
The tech world is becoming so vast that you really need to niche down to become a true expert.
Wow. So the future is all about specialization, automation, and probably a whole bunch of new job titles we can't even imagine yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But one thing's for sure, the demand for skilled tech professionals isn't going away anytime soon.
So no matter which path you choose, if you've got the skills and the passion, there will be a place for you.
Absolutely. The key is to stay curious, keep learning, and be ready to adapt as the tech landscape continues to change.
Well said.
Thank you.
I think this deep dive has given our listeners a lot to chew on. as they explore their own, tech career journeys.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We've unpacked the core differences between DevOps and software engineering.
Right.
And I think what's come through is how much these roles depend on each other.
And we've looked at how those roles are evolving.
Right.
Which might be the most useful part.
Yeah.
For someone trying to figure out where they fit in.
Exactly. The best career path isn't just about what's hot right now. It's about where your passions and skills align with the direction that the industry is heading.
Couldn't have said it better myself. and on that note,
all right,
we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Okay.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring the world of DevOps and software engineering with us.
And we encourage you to keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world of tech.
Right.
Who knows what amazing new roles will emerge in the next few years. That's
the exciting part.
Right.
The future is wide open.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.